Welcome. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to create variables in Python, and this includes how to store values in variables and how to name variables. So welcome, and please remember to subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed, and also to like the video just for YouTube algorithm purposes. Thank you. So in this tutorial, as I have indicated, we are going to create or to learn how to create the variables names in Python. Then a variable by definition is a container that is used to store values. So for example, in this case, I have created a variable x and I have used it to store a value of 5. Later in this program, I can use this variable to get the value of 5 that I have stored in it. So basically, a variable is a container of values. So in order to create the names that are acceptable in Python program, then there are several conventions that you should observe, and in this tutorial I'm going to go through the most important ones. So the first one is that the variable's name can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. So that is, we can have variables such as name. This contains letters, so we can use a name to store a value. Maybe like in this case, we can store a value of a person like James. So we have used a variable name to store the value of James. We can as well use an underscore in naming the variable. That is, we can use like a first name. In this case, we have used an underscore to separate the first name instead of using a space. So the first name of this person may be Peter, and we can have maybe a last name like Joe. This is how you use letters and underscores. We can as well use a number in a variable's name, like number one or number 2. We can have a variable's name in this case like this one, and maybe we can have a number of maybe a 2. We can have a number 2, and that way. Even if you can use a number in the variable's name, it is good to note that the name of a variable cannot start with a number. So in this case, we cannot have a number like one number. We cannot have such a variable name in Python program. As you can see, the program is already complaining that we are using an illegal name to create a variable. But we can start with an underscore, maybe like a name equals James. We can have such a name, but we cannot start the name of a variable with a number. So that's a good thing to note about the names in Python program. Another important thing is to note is that you cannot use spaces, or basically we cannot use spaces in naming the variables. Like in this case, we cannot separate the last name using spaces. That's why we have used underscores. So if you want to separate names, use underscores. So another important to note about the names of a variable is that you should avoid using keywords in naming your variables. The keywords include for, if, print. Print is also a keyword. Print function. Else is a keyword. All those keywords with reserved meaning in Python, you should not use them in naming your variables. Instead, use other names that are not keywords or function words like print. Don't use print. This is it's a function. We have a function print, so avoid using such words or such keywords in naming your variables. Another important thing to note about the names of variables is that they should be short but very descriptive. In this case, we have a first name. This name is shorter, but at the same time, you understand what I mean with first name. You understand that it refers to the first name of a person because it is short, but it is also descriptive. So avoid using so long words that may not be very good in naming the variables. One last thing I would like to highlight is that even if the letter L and O are acceptable in naming your variables, avoid them in most cases because they can be confused with the letter 1 and 0. Someone reading your code may confuse these letters because they look almost the same, although they are relatively different. But for one and an L, they look almost the same. But so it may be confusing to a person reading your code and might be tempted to think that you're using the different letters or numbers. So those are some of the basic things that you should note about the variables. We have looked at how you create the names of variables, and in short, we have indicated that use letters, numbers, and underscores in creating the names of your variables. And we have also indicated that you should avoid using spaces. We have also indicated that you should avoid using keywords or reserved words because that may be confusing. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like the video and to subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified once I release the next video. Thank you.